A mother bear leaves her den in spring with 2 tiny cubs behind her. By the end of the week, only one is still alive. Sometimes the missing cub was taken by a rival male. Sometimes it was crushed in panic. Sometimes it never made it past the mother herself. She licks the newborn clean. She pulls it close. She lets it feed. Then, under the wrong conditions, she kills it. This happens in lions, mice, birds, pigs, monkeys, fish, and insects. It happens in the wild. It happens in captivity. It happens in animals that are starving and animals that are perfectly fed. So why do some animals kill their own babies? A male lion walks into a pride that is not his. The grass is flattened. One of the old males is limping away. Lionesses are circling, tense, ears back. Cubs are trying to hide beneath their mothers. The new male goes straight for them. He does not eat them. He does not kill the mothers. He kills the cubs. At first glance, it looks like pointless brutality. The kind of violence people file under nature being savage and move on. But then you look closer, and something about it becomes unsettlingly precise. He targets the youngest cubs first, the ones still nursing, the ones still keeping their mothers occupied. And after the cubs are dead, the females become fertile again far sooner than they otherwise would have. That changes the entire scene, because now it does not look random. It looks timed. Male lions usually hold a pride for only a short window, often 2 to 3 years. That is not long in a life shaped by fights, injuries, challengers, and the constant risk of losing everything. If a new male inherits females who are busy nursing another male's young, he may spend most of his reign guarding offspring that do nothing for his own future. So he removes the delay, kill the cubs, and the mothers cycle sooner, and he gets his own cubs on the ground before another male does the same thing to him. From our point of view, that is horrifying. From his point of view, it works. And if that were the whole story, the answer to this video would already be simple. Some animals kill babies because the babies belong to somebody else. Except then you get to mice. A female mouse gives birth in a nest she built herself. The pups are hers. She carried them. She delivered them. She can hear them. She can smell them. She starts nursing them. Then, sometimes, she eats one. Not a rival's pup. Not an unrelated infant. Her own. Now the lion explanation collapses. A male lion killing cubs to bring females back into estrus is one thing. A mother destroying her own litter is something else entirely. There is no takeover here. No invading male. No stolen pride. So what is she doing? For a long time, people assumed this was just stress or maternal failure. But the pattern repeats too neatly. The pups most likely to be killed are often the weakest, smallest, sickest, or most abnormal. The behavior becomes more common when food is unstable, the litter is too large, the nest is disturbed, or the mother is in poor condition. And then the rest of the litter has a better chance. That is the unsettling part. A mouse can produce offspring quickly, but milk is expensive. Heat is expensive. Defending helpless young is expensive. If she tries to raise more pups than she can afford, she may lose all of them. One dead pup can become milk for the others. The act looks deranged. The outcome looks selective. Now the pattern gets stranger again. Because the lion was not solving the same problem as the mouse. The lion was destroying someone else's offspring. The mouse was cutting down her own. One looks like conquest. The other looks like triage. And then birds make it stranger still. In a nest high above the ground, 2 chicks hatch days apart. The older one opens its eyes first. It begs first. It gets fed first. By the time the younger chick arrives, the size gap has already opened. Then food gets scarce. The smaller chick is pecked, shoved, climbed over, shut out at feeding time. Sometimes it starves slowly while the parents continue feeding the larger one. Sometimes it is pushed to the edge of the nest and dropped. Sometimes the parents intervene. Often they do not need to. They just keep feeding the chick most likely to make it. In some species, this is so regular it barely counts as an accident. Eagles do it. Herons do it. Egrets do it. Boobies do it. The second chick can function like a backup plan. If the season is excellent, both survive. If the season turns bad, one was always going to be expendable. So now we have 3 cases. A lion killing cubs that are not his. A mouse killing pups that are. A bird allowing one chick to die while preserving another. 3 completely different animals. 3 completely different pressures. Yet somehow they arrive at the same horrifying behavior. Even the tight, cooperative-looking social animals do it. In a meerkat group, the dominant female can be a tyrant toward subordinates. If a subordinate gives birth, the dominant female may kill the pups, harass the mother until she miscarries, or drive her out while pregnant. Not out of hunger or confusion, every mouthful that goes to a rival's offspring is a mouthful not going to her own. The victim is young. The real conflict is among adults. So the pattern is wider than it first seemed. Not just males killing unrelated young. Not just mothers culling weak offspring. Not just sibling rivalry in a nest. The same outcome keeps appearing in different bodies, different environments, different social systems, which means there has to be something deeper connecting them, and there is. What connects them is not cruelty for its own sake. It is trade-offs. A baby is not automatically valuable in evolutionary terms. A baby matters if raising it leads to more surviving descendants than the alternatives. That alternative might be the rest of the litter. It might be a future breeding attempt. It might be the parent's own survival. It might be eliminating a rival's genes so your own can replace them. And all of that sounds cold because it is. But the coldness is the point. Natural selection does not reward affection by itself. It rewards whatever patterns leave more descendants over time. If care helps, care spreads. If selective neglect helps, selective neglect spreads. If killing the young under certain conditions leads, on average, to more surviving offspring later, that behavior can stay in the system. A male lion can be fiercely protective of one cub and murderous toward another. The difference is paternity. A mother mouse can nurse 6 pups and kill 2. The difference is whether 6 are raisable and 8 are not. Some birds lay more eggs than they are likely to raise, because the extra chick is insurance, not a promise. A dominant meerkat kills a subordinate's litter because those pups are competition-wearing baby faces. Once you see that, the behavior stops looking random. It still looks brutal, but it stops looking mysterious. This is also why people so often misread it. We expect babies to carry a special status. Humans are wired to respond to helplessness with enormous emotional force. A large forehead, clumsy movement, crying sounds, dependence. These are not neutral cues to us. They trigger protection, empathy, tenderness, obligation. So when an animal crosses that boundary, it feels like a violation of something deeper than violence. Predation is one thing. We expect a lion to kill an antelope. We do not expect a mother to kill what she just gave birth to. But evolution never drew a sacred circle around the young. It drew conditions. That is why the phrase parental instinct can be misleading. It makes care sound like a simple force aimed in one direction. Protect the baby, feed the baby, save the baby. In reality, parental care is conditional almost everywhere in nature. Birds abandon nests that are too exposed. Rodents cull pups when the costs spike too high. Mammals reject offspring that are sick, premature, or non-viable. Even species that look deeply nurturing can switch fast when the situation changes. That switch does not mean the care was fake. It means the care depended on circumstances. There are countermeasures too, because of course there are. Once infant killing becomes part of the landscape, other animals evolve defenses against it. Lionesses hide cubs after a male takeover. Some females mate with multiple males, so paternity becomes uncertain, and a male risks killing his own young if he attacks. Primates form coalitions against dangerous newcomers. Rodent mothers become intensely aggressive after birth. So the story is never just kill or be killed. It becomes an arms race. One side evolves a way to eliminate costly offspring or rival genes. The other evolves a way to make that harder. Then the first side evolves again. All of it focused on the most defenseless individuals in the group. That is one of the darkest recurring patterns in biology. The weakest members are often where selection hits hardest. There is also a reason this feels worse than ordinary hunting. A predator killing prey is crossing a species boundary. We can file it as survival. Food chain. Energy moving upward. Infant killing happens inside the social unit. Inside the den. Inside the nest. Inside the pride. It happens between relatives. Between mates. Between members of the same group who groom one another, sleep beside one another, and cooperate the rest of the year. It feels like betrayal because, in human terms, it would be. In evolutionary terms, the question is simpler. What increases the odds that your genes continue? That does not mean animals are emotionless machines. Many are clearly attached to their young. They defend them, carry them, search for them, call for them. Elephants have been seen lingering over dead calves. Primates sometimes carry dead infants for days. Mammalian mothers can become ferocious when threatened. Birds exhaust themselves trying to feed nestlings through bad weather. The capacity for care is real. So is the capacity to withdraw it. Nature did not choose one or the other. It kept both, because different conditions reward different responses. And that is the part most people do not like. The same mother can be the safest place in the world for one offspring and the cause of death for another. The same species can produce tenderness so intense it looks almost human, and indifference so cold it looks alien. Both can be adaptive, both can be ancient, both can exist side by side because selection is not trying to build a moral creature. It is trying to build one that leaves descendants. There is one more complication. Not every case is adaptive. Captivity produces some of the ugliest versions of infant killing because captivity can scramble the conditions these instincts evolved for. A domestic pig in a farrowing crate cannot move normally, cannot build a proper nest, cannot get away from stress. Some crush pig piglets by accident, some attack them. Laboratory rodents under intense disturbance may cannibalize litters. Captive primates sometimes abuse or kill infants in socially chaotic enclosures. The outward act can look the same as the adaptive cases. The biology is not always the same. One is a pattern shaped because it sometimes improved reproductive success. The other is an animal coming apart inside an environment it was never built for. That distinction matters. People want one clean answer. Either the animal is evil or broken. Either the behavior is adaptive or abnormal. Nature is less tidy than that. The same species can contain both patterns. A rodent may kill a malformed pup because future reproduction matters. Another may destroy an entire litter because the nest has been repeatedly disturbed and stress hormones have hijacked the system. What looks like one behavior from the outside can be several different biological stories wearing the same mask. So why do some animals kill their own babies? Sometimes to erase a rival's genes. Sometimes to save the rest of a litter. Sometimes because one offspring is too weak to justify the cost. Sometimes because another female's young are direct competition. Sometimes because crowding, captivity, or stress shatters the normal system and the result is disaster. Different scenes. One rule. Parenthood in nature is not a vow. It is conditional care shaped by what keeps the next generation going. The behavior looks monstrous only if you assume evolution is trying to preserve innocence. It is not. It is trying to preserve continuity. By the end of the week, only one is still alive.